The grain markets in 2019 were dominated by headlines tied to the trade war, weather, and production concerns, as well as weaker demand. But what are the prospects for 2020 as we're on the cusp of a more positive trade environment, but our growing season is in question? Joining us to answer those questions, market analyst DuWayne Bosse and Randy Martinson. All right, so guys, let's start with near-term outlook. First of all, January could be kind of an explosive month. We've got a lot of trade developments with Japan, USMCA, and China, and we have a January 10th crop production report. So how volatile will it be?
It's a good question. I think it could be pretty volatile. And I think that we're going to see USDA should come in and finally realize, that we don't have all the corn acres planted, or at least harvested. We're not going to get them all harvested. And a lot of that is because of the cover crop acres that were planted. So we do know that there will be a reduction in harvested acres, just a matter of how much. Soybeans, that's a little bit more of a harder question to answer. Most of the soybeans did get harvested. There's a few left over in North Dakota and South Dakota. But for the most part, a lot of them got harvested. I think yield could come down a little bit, though.
So, DuWayne, what do we do with the unharvested acres? What does USDA, is that on-farm storage? How do they handle that?
Yeah, they actually came out and said that will be on-farm storage. And I understand, because where else are they going to put it? You get to the January report, that's supposed to be your final production report. So you can't really say, well, it's not harvested yet. So they're going to call it on-farm storage. So farmers in North Dakota are going to have to take their best guess at what's still out there when they answer those USDA surveys. And then we'll see come springtime when all of it gets harvested what's really out there. So that those adjustments won't be until the quarterly stocks report, which I really look forward to in 2020.
And the bad part about that is they will not take into consideration test weight or moisture in that corn that's standing out in the field. So it's going to be a average crop. So that will make some adjustments or help with the adjustments later down the road.
Yeah, there's a good chance the January report is a little bit disappointing for corn because we're still going to show this 1.9 billion for an ending stock. But I think Randy and myself, a lot of traders out there, are still questioning even last year's crop size. So it's the quarterly stocks report. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And you will get one in the January report, but I don't know if they're going to make the adjustments I want then.
Does USDA start making demand adjustments with the idea that we're going to have this China deal signed?
Personally, I don't think so in the January report. That's a little too soon.
And then after that, we're going to already start the acreage battle discussion. And so let's talk about that. Are we going to see more corn acres? 94 has been suggested, million acres by USDA in the outlook for them already.
I think we will see more corn acres. And I think the big thing that we're looking at, corn has worked for a lot of growers. I mean, last year, even as slow as planting was, as late as the planting got done, a little bit of change of varieties, I think, corn is king.
Can you still get 94 million acres of corn in when we still have corn in the field from this last year? I mean, that says to me we're going to plant more beans.
I think 93, 94. I'm at more like 93 right now. So I guess I'm going to answer your question with yes, we can. A lot of that is the eastern corn belt actually dried up quite a bit going into fall. So, and they've got prevent plant. They'll be able to roll into corn. But yeah, up here in North Dakota, it's hard to think about corn in 2020 when you don't have last year's crop off yet. That looks like more like soybeans to me.
And what about acreage mix for wheat? We already know we have 110-year lows for winter wheat, spring wheat, acreage be down as well?
I think so. I think both DuWayne and I are on the same page there. We think spring wheat acres are going to be down because, spring wheat didn't work this year in a lot of areas. The harvest was delayed out, and the discounts really were a killer, especially for falling numbers. And with as wet as we are, it's going to be tough to get that wheat planted on a timely basis.
So a lot of question marks for the growing season, obviously, as we head into 2020. But like we said, the demand picture looks a lot better. So are you bulls or bears? DuWayne, you first.
I had to duck to get my bullhorns in the door here. So I'm definitely bullish 2020. You mix some Chinese demand, some reduction of last year's crop supply, and then a weather scare in South America, and actually we could see some fireworks in 2020.
Okay. What about you, Randy?
I'm bullish short term in 2020. I think we're going to have a good spring. I think we could have some decent opportunity to do some pricing. If we get the crop planted and we have average weather, I think then we could be looking at some issues. But short term, I think we have a good market in the spring.